Hi, I'm Andy Schmuckler, and I want to talk about football. Let me get the uncomfortableness, why I'm uncomfortably in love with football. Let me get the uncomfortably part out of the way. Uh, it's a very rough. My favorite spectator sport in these years is NFL football. I think it's just marvelous as a game to see in that medium. Uh, I'll speak more about that, but I also am aware of what a rough game that is. The number of injuries in the course of a given hard hitting game is disturbing to me. Uh, I don't I don't feel comfortable with how often somebody staggers off the field after a concussion or is driven into the tunnel on one of those carts when the person isn't going to be able to walk back to the locker room for the x-ray machine or whatever it is. And to hear the litany of all the all the important players of this team and of that team that are on injured reserve, and how this person and that person missed the whole season, and from injury, a season-ending injury, and then there are those occasional career-ending injuries. There are the collisions that one sees, and particularly on passes, where receivers make these catches, and then sometimes they get hit so hard by somebody who's so fast and strong to jar the ball loose or make you think twice next time about catching a ball in their territory. I'm not entirely comfortable with this. I don't. There is a level at which I can relate to the sheer physicality of this force against force. That feels very real to me. Trying to open up the hole for the runner and trying to make a tackle. And the game is so beautiful. With soccer, for example, I'm very frustrated by how much people can work and do great things, and if you don't get a goal just then, you start all over from scratch. Nothing matters. You didn't accomplish anything unless you got a goal, and getting a goal is sort of so hit and miss. It's sort of like the outcome of the game depends on things that are, somewhat arbitrary seeming, but. In basketball, at least you score 40, 50 times in a game. But in football, every time you get a first down, you gain territory. Even if you aren't going to be able to score, your gain of that territory should correlate with disadvantaging the opponent who's going to be backed up further. And then there's also that, you didn't necessarily succeed, but you can kind of succeed. So there is value in everything you achieve, because if you can get to field goal range, even if you don't get the touchdown, in the NFL, if you're like at the 35, you still got a good ways to go for a touchdown, but you can get the 3 points if you got a good field goal kicker. I think it's beautiful. And then there's the replay where you get to see things commented on by somebody who knows the game. And for me, a lot of the pleasure also is that I have in my athletic memory a sense of what these guys are doing. I'll rule out the blocking and the effort to sweep the lineman away and get to the passer. I didn't play those roles in my own football career. Um, Also, not a lot did I ever have but enough to know the job of a defensive safety. My defensive work was as a linebacker, and so I get to see these guys. They are such magnificent athletes. But particularly, my own experience was about throwing and catching the ball, and about running with it, and and, uh, and tackling. But since I'm not really that tough of a guy physically, as it turned out, um, my I was much happier to be on the offensive side where you're trying to avoid collisions than be a linebacker where your job is to make sure there's a collision. But in any event, I worked very hard to be good at some of these things. And then I watched these players do what they do. I watched these runners that are so lightning fast and are able to change their directions and fake somebody out, and these spin moves. And then there's something famous from this season of guy making two successive incredible moves, uh, and catches that even in my fantasies, I don't think I fantasized about making some of the catches I see these guys make. And then the passers that I spent most of my offensive life being a quarterback. Not a whole lot of experience, but I have some understanding of what it takes to put the ball where you want it if the guy's streaking away from you 20, 30 yards. And to watch some of these guys like Allen with Buffalo uh, well, and Jackson with the Ravens, watching the ability of some of these guys to put the ball just where they want to. It's beautiful to watch. They are really special athletes, and watching the desire of some of these guys, like runners that are almost down but will not give up. Sometimes they'll break out, or sometimes they'll twist and they'll drag the pile 3 or 4 yards just to see this sheer will, this willingness to exert oneself fully to achieve something against the people who are trying to stop you. It's heroic. A beautiful tackle that's made where if this person hadn't stood at Thermopylae and stopped the attackers at that point, the one side would not have survived. Anyway, I think the rules are great. I don't think they've got the kickoff thing right yet. I fast forward through those. But the whole business about you got 4 downs to get 10 yards. And if you get the first down, you're in a different situation again. You get to be more free, and you've got this requirement, and you gain field position, as I was saying before. Great rules. I don't think any game has rules as beautiful as NFL football. Got to get both feet down on the ground before you go out of bounds for the pass to be complete. And then some of these athletes that do incredible things at the sideline, getting their both feet down while they're making this incredible catch and falling like on a hinge for the catch to be good. Beautiful to behold. So I love football, and I wish it could be played in a way that wasn't damaging these beautiful athletes so often, so much. Thanks. Don't talk much about this kind of thing, but I do talk about other things on my website, abetterhumanstory.org. Thanks. Bye-bye.